If there's one golden rule when it comes to avoiding food waste, it would have to be make sure you know what you're going to do with your leftovers. All right, I had a beautiful roast dinner last night. There's a couple of spuds that were in the fridge. And what am I going to do with them? Well, I've actually got a recipe that my grandmother taught me. It's a lovely Hungarian dessert. It's called Gömböc. Yeah, they're dumplings. Best of all, you can fill them with whatever you like. I'm filling mine with a mixture of mangoes and marmalade. And believe me, this one's an absolute treasure. If you've ever eaten a pierogi before, you'll probably recognize the sort of pastry that I'm making. You know, starting with potatoes might seem odd to a lot of Australians, but if you're from Central or Eastern Europe, it's totally natural. In addition to that, you'll need a decent chunk of butter, something like that. And then with our food processor, give it a little bit of a buzz together. Now, something you should know. Ideally, for this, you'll have what we call waxy potatoes. They're the ones for mashing and salads. But to be honest, if they're a little bit starchier, add another little bit of butter. First thing you're gonna notice is that it really does form up as a ball. Doesn't look very appetizing yet. That's okay, we're actually trying to make it a little bit sticky because that's how we're gonna make the dumplings hold together. You'll want a little pinch of salt and 1 egg because that will both enrich it and help set it. And then we'll slowly add flour. Look, I could give you a recipe of how to add the flour, somewhere around 1 3/4 cups. But the reality is the amount you need will depend on both the type of potato you've used and how far you've cooked them. Let's find out. Gorgeous. It's not really fair of me to say to you that you get to judge how much flour you need and then not show you what you're looking for. So let me do exactly that. What you can see is that this mix is now, it's got a little bit of a, don't take it the wrong way, a plasticine consistency. That's absolutely perfect. And what we need to do is to get pieces about the size of a squash ball. Again, not a great food reference. And lay them out on the board. It's really important to allow your dumplings to rest on the bench for a little while before you fill them. You're going to find they're easier to put together that way. I promised you mango, didn't I? Well, this is Australia's favourite mango. It's called the Calypso. We got it, a few years back. It's one of those great little inventions. I reckon it's brilliant. We just need it diced up. After dicing the mango, pop it into a little bowl. Didn't drop any. We're gonna mix it with a little bit of marmalade. Yes, that's my own marmalade. That's brilliant, tastes good. But more importantly, it's a great way to ensure I never throw away citrus. See, food waste. Look, I might be biased, but that marmalade is absolutely amazing. All right, putting these together, it's really simple. A little bit of flour on your fingers, take a ball, and make a little hole in the middle. And then you're gonna fill that with your mango mixture and pinch it closed around it. Take some practice, but you'll be right. If there's one thing that we've learned over the course of the last couple of years, is that things can really change, and they have. I mean, COVID has really separated us in ways that I don't think we ever expected. We are much less connected to our families, to our friends, to the people we really care about. And if that's happening to you, let me offer you some advice. I want you to share a plate with a mate. Now that mate could be your brother, your dad, your children, or a friend. It doesn't really matter who it is. We need that human bonding and we need that time together. And the best way to do that, of course, is to make sure you've got something delicious to cook. So we're helping you out with some recipes. These little mango and marmalade dumplings, well, I recommend them, but why wouldn't I? If you look carefully, you might see there's some little cracks forming in the dough. Well, that happens because the filling's quite wet. So what we tend to do is throw a little bit more flour on the outside, and then it's going to go straight into a saucepan of boiling water. You just need to cook them until they float, and then scoop them out. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, at this point you can't wait to try one, I appreciate your enthusiasm, But in Hungary, there's one more step. Now, if you've ever been through a Hungarian winter, you'll know, well, a little bit of extra fat in your diet can give you a bit of natural insulation. So you're going to want a generous amount of butter into the pan. Then when it starts to brown, toss in your Gömböc dumplings along with some cinnamon sugar. Smells fantastic. I'm a huge fan of cinnamon. There is one last ingredient which gets thrown into the pan, and this one, it's a little bit unusual. It's a generous amount of breadcrumbs. Now, why do we do that? That's a great bit of logic. The breadcrumbs will soak up both the caramelized butter and also all of the juices. Now, how could you complain about that? It's delicious. Oh, you might want some berries to serve. I tell you, my grandmother would be very proud of me right now. That is a fantastic looking Gömböc, but I am going to put my own stamp on it. You see, I still reckon it needs something a little bit syrupy. So if you like honey as much as I do, just wait till you try organic honey. It reduces some of the guilt I feel about how sweet I like it.